Again, Erev Shabbos Parshas Noach. Noach is tzaddik tamim hoya b'dorisov. Noach was a tzaddik in his dor. So Rashi goes back and forth. What does it mean in his dor? Why dafka his dor? And in another dor maybe not? Let me ask you a question. Tzaddik tamim hoya. Tamim is also extra. What does it mean tamim? He was a perfect tzaddik. Perfect means that there's nothing missing from his tzidkus. If he's a perfect tzaddik, who cares if he's a perfect tzaddik here, perfect tzaddik there? He's perfect. He wouldn't be missing anything from his shleimus, from his tzidkus, in any dar. What's the question? He's a tzaddik tamim. In every case and scenario, Noach is tamim. That's the question. I don't think that's necessarily true, because what Rashi's question is he tamim here or is he tamim there? The requirements that Noach had to fulfill his perfection were designed by his dar. In that generation, a perfect Noach looks like this. It's 100 points. In Avram Avinu's dar, for a Noach to reach perfection, it's 1,000 points. It's a higher dar. Continue to us, for us you have to be a 0.0046 to be a perfect tzaddik. But perfection is dependent on where you're placed. But the Rebbe Shalom puts every Noach, he puts every Avram, and he puts every Yankel, Joe, and Shmo exactly in the door where he can fulfill his potential. Where his potential is exactly where he's supposed to be. There's a certain amount of tzidkus that you and I are supposed to reach. There's a certain amount of tmimus where we come full circle and we become perfect. We would not be able to achieve that perfection in another dar. We are exactly in the dar that we are supposed to be able to achieve that perfection, and that's only able to be designed by the Bayer Elam himself. There's a hashgacha pratis for every single individual in every single situation, every single life environment that he finds himself in. I just heard a story from Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson about a Chabad Shliach, Rabbi Slabatitsky. He was going to deliver matzahs before Pesach to a Jewish doctor that he knew. And when he was in the doctor's office, the doctor said, I'm in the middle of a procedure, I'm a little busy, thank you for the matzah. BTW, there's a woman sitting in the corner over there, Jewish. Maybe she'll want some matzah for Pesach too. So he said, sure, always have extra matzah. He went over to her and he said, Shalom Aleichem. My name is Rabbi Slavatitsky, I would like to offer you, would you mind? I have extra matzah for Pesach, would you like some matzah for Pesach? And she said, nope, go away, leave me alone. And shut him down. And he says, maybe you don't understand, it's free. I just want to give you some matzah, I want to be able to give you a mitzvah. I heard you're Jewish. And she said, yeah, I'm not religious. I don't believe in organized religion. Okay. He realizes that he's talking to a wall, takes out a business card, leaves it on the table next to her, and says, happy holidays. Chag Sameach. Okay. Totally forgets about it, went on with his life. 2 minutes later, there was a blip on his radar. But that blip came back to him a couple months later. This woman calls him up and said, Rabbi. He said, yeah. He said, I'm the woman from that doctor's office. My father's 78 years old. Stage 4 cancer, and he's dying. Normally, I would never call you. Like I said, we're not religious, we're not affiliated, I don't believe in this. But my father asked for you. Don't know why? He's not religious either. But can you come visit my father? He said, sure. He's down in Florida. She tells him what hospital, and he runs over there. Comes into the room, and he asks his daughters to leave. And it's just him and the father. And this Yid tells him, he says, look, I was born a Jew, I want to die a Jew. I didn't live as a Jew. So the rabbi says, don't worry. A Jew's a Jew, a Jew's a Jew. Of course you're going to die as a Jew. He tells him there's a thing called tshuva, it's never too late. He says, you don't understand, Rabbi. I've never had a bris. I want to die as a Yid. It's a couple of days before Rosh Hashanah. rabbi says, well, what do you want me to do? He said, give me a bris. I said, what do you mean? There's no one here. Give me a bris. So I can't just give you a bris. First of all, I'm not a moil. Second of all, like, you can't just like walk into rooms and give people brisim. So he says, let's get it done. He says, okay, I'll see if I can get a mile. He's on the phone, and he's calling this mile. And there's a nurse that overhears him on the phone saying that he's trying to organize a circumcision. And she gives him this look like, I mean, this is a 78-year-old man with cancer. You can't just walk in and circumcise him. So the father says, look, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? The bris is going to go wrong? I'm going to die? The doctor gave me 48 hours. So I'll die a little early. So it's like this is what I want. Bring me any waiver in the world. No problem. I'll sign off anything. I'm not going to sue anybody. I need to die as a Jew. So the nurse went to speak to her higher-ups, and the rabbi of Slabetitsky knew there was a from doctor in the hospital and calls him up and says, I need your help here because we're about to run into a pile of red tape. He says, I'll see what I can do. And he went to go speak to the boss of the hospital, and he came back with an ultimatum. He said, if you could get a male who's also an MD, it's not so common. So he starts calling all his friends. The whole Florida, they couldn't find anybody. Goes up to Virginia, Georgia, nothing. Finally finds there's a rabbi, Mile, in New York who also has an MD. He says, I need you, like now. Like the clock is ticking. We don't know how long he's gonna live. He said, no problem. Get me a ticket. I'll be there in a few. Flies over, and just a few days before Rosh Hashanah, Erev Rosh Hashanah, he got his bris. 78 years old, dying of cancer. And they made a little Suda. They made a Suda of a bris. And he got up to speak, and he said, I'll tell you, I never felt anything in my whole life. I had no problem not being a Jew. I knew I was Jewish, but I didn't mind. Okay. So, and I have brown hair. It made no difference to me. But then I was told that I was going to die. And the doctor told me that my time was up. And I thought, what am I going to take with me? He said, I did well. I had good money. But I knew, everyone knows that doesn't come with you. The only thing that I have that's coming with me, I have no relationship with. My soul. I have nothing to do with my neshama. And that's what got me to start thinking. He said, Rabbi, you saved my life. When they first met, and he was telling the rabbi about how he wants to die as a Jew, he said, no problem, I'll get you a Jewish burial. Anyway, he survived longer than 48 hours. He heard the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Slabetitsky walked 2 hours to bring him a lulav and esrog on Sukkot. And by the time he was nifter, he had a whole bunch of mitzvahs under his belt, besides from bris milah. And Rabbi Slabetitsky went to his daughters, their religious daughters, and said, we have to bury him. He said, they made arrangements for him to be cremated. It's a lot cheaper. And he said, I beg you that you have to do this. So the daughter, the stone cold daughter who we met in the waiting room, paid the $690 that she chipped in for the cremation, said, okay, that'll go towards the burial. The other daughter gave $2,000. They were short $9,000. And it wasn't coming from anywhere else. They needed to bury him. And he gave him the credit card. Slabetitsky paid the $9,000. Said this is the right thing to do. But one who is b'teach b'Hashem realizes that everything has its place. Everyone is put exactly where they're supposed to be. That Yom Tiv, they had Achnasa Sefer Torah by Sukkot. And they made a whole parade. And the woman who sponsored it invited all of her friends. It happens to be that the woman that showed up was this woman, the girl, the daughter of the man who just passed away. And a few days after the Achnasa Sefer Torah, Rabbi Slabetitsky, his wife opened up a letter in the mail. And it was from this woman. And it said, as I'm sure you know, I have nothing to do with Yiddishkeit. I have nothing to do with being Jewish. But that parade, the joy, the excitement that I saw for our Torah, it sparked something inside of me. I decided I'm giving my son a bar mitzvah. I also want to cover the costs of my father's burial. And there's a check in there for $9,000. It was a blip on his radar. There's a woman in the corner, she's Jewish. Maybe she could use a matzah for Pesach. And this Yid died as a Yid. He even got to live as a Yid. And his daughter realized she's a Yid and appreciated being a Yid. Everyone gets put into their door with the abilities, the koiches, and the mission to complete their potential, to become a tzaddik tamim. May we all be zeicha to have the clarity to understand what our potential is, to recognize our own strengths, and to reach our tmimus. Shabbos, I get chodesh.